it was the first thing you did and the last thing you'll do. You're doing it right now, and the more you do it, the better. What is it you know? It is your breath. Welcome back to another episode of the Purposeful Powerhouse podcast. Today, I'm going to teach you a practice from the Rise and Vibe movement that you can use to breathe new life into your life, into your business, into yourself, into your identity, your habits, your beliefs, whatever it is. Maybe you're writing the new chapter of your life. I'm excited to teach you this incredible practice that until now I've only shared with community members inside the Rise and Vibe movement. So if you're like me, you probably love yourself some affirmations, don't you? Saying those positive, encouraging, inspirational, uplifting thoughts to yourself. Yes, it's good. It's good. Yeah, it is. But if you've been listening to this show for a while, or even if this is your first episode, as a reminder to you, while that clear intention that is the affirmation positive thought statement is important because it's the electrical signal that gets sent out into the universe, what makes those statements even more powerful is dropping into the elevated emotional state that they activate within you. Because everything is energy, that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you desire, and it cannot help but be yours, said someone incredible. That's often attributed to Einstein, but it's not necessarily him. There's a little bit of a debate around that statement. But anyways, it's all energy, baby, is what it gets back to. The elevated emotional state of that statement is the magnetic pull that activates within you the opportunities, the thoughts, the energetic state, the vibrational state, the way and state of being inside your nervous system, which is that where you attract from. So what am I saying here? What I want you to do is when you are declaring something to yourself in that positive tone, like you would with an affirmation, if you want to make it a power statement, if you want to make it even more impactful and purposeful, because after all, you are a purposeful powerhouse, then we want to drop into the felt sense of it. It's different for you to say, I am powerful, and for you to feel the ground underneath you, your legs, the energy in your body and in your torso. Pull your shoulders back and say, I am powerful. Try it with me. Just casually say it in your head. I am powerful. And then I want you to sit or stand up tall, lift your chest up, engage your belly a little bit, squeeze your butt, and pull yourself into that confident power pose, and then say it. Do you feel the difference? Let me know. So that's not even what I'm going to teach you today, and that's just something that you can start to integrate. But the work that's even more impactful, more deeper, if you will, is when you bring your breath into it, right? When you breathe new life into these power statements and into the reality that you're living into, that you're co-creating, that is the vision that you see for yourself and your life and your relationships and your business and your work and your creative outlets and all those things, is how can you begin to make that your reality by living into it today? I'm going to share the purposeful powerhouse practice with you. You know, I love my alliterations, but really it's to remember that the future that we create is based on the reality that we are living into today. So if we want to have the same situation as we did yesterday, then we do the same thing we did yesterday. So that's why it's really important to begin to become aware of your habits, become aware of your beliefs, the identities that you're subscribing to by these statements that you're making in your mind as thoughts or out loud as statements, and really be intentional with your energy and with your focus. And that's really what we do inside the Rise and Vibe movement, is create an amplified morning routine that allows you to do all of this in a really efficient way that really is a moving manifestation practice that allows you to set the tone for the whole day, gets you all sorts of fired up and strutting into your day feeling so amazing and creating this incredible life for yourself that you look around and realize, holy moly, I'm living in my vision board. So that's really the work that we do inside the Rise and Vibe movement. But one of the really impactful tools to do that is, yes, the power statements, is that activation of the felt sense of whatever it is, right? If you are confident or whatever, activating that, because it's the combined effort, if you will, of the state within your body and the clear intention in your mind. But what is the purposeful powerhouse practice? And how can you use it to not only co-create this incredible reality for yourself, but to breathe life into something new, and also to, start the day with a breath of fresh air, if you will. I'm thinking of like all the breath analogies. Stop me now. I didn't even look it up before. I probably should for my next episode, because I'm all about the breath right now. Because P.S., have you checked out Breathe to Succeed yet? People are loving it, but we'll talk more about that in a minute. But the PPP. Okay, so the PPP. I love alliterations. I love, what are those acronyms? So your purposeful powerhouse practice really makes use of those statements, right? And so now you want to, go deeper than affirmations and activate them with the power statements. So where do you get those from, right? You don't want to just, copy them off the internet. I mean, you could, but they are far more impactful if they come from your vision. What do I mean? Well, connecting to the version of you that's living in that vision, right? When we know from quantum physics that all realities exist simultaneously, and that there's multiple timelines happening right now, and that you can tap into that awareness, because that's the creative life force of the universe that is expressing itself through you. You can tap into that. If I lost you, go back and listen again, because it's not crazy talk. It's science. It's quantum physics. And it's really freaking cool. So you can leave it as science, or you can say, oh, I'm connecting to my higher self, and I'm exploring and I'm using my imagination for what I would like to create for my life. Okay, whatever category you land in, you might be somewhere in the middle, because it's really the same thing, but it's okay, wherever your belief system lies. Maybe you're talking to God. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Okay, so connecting to that vision that you see for yourself, the goals that you're setting, if you will, and looking at that from the perspective of the version of you that you get to become, to make that your reality, to live into that, and looking at that future version of you. And maybe you feel this as insight that you get. Maybe it's, you look at other successful people that have done similar things, and you look at what their qualities and characteristics are, and you want to model those for yourself. So there's a lot of ways that you can get this information. And of course, inside Rise and Vibe movement, we go really deep and we explore into this in a lot of different ways. But I'll just give you that as a starting point of, connecting to what you want to have happen in your life and how you want to feel, right? Of like, what's important to you? What are your values? And so those are some starting points of, for example, I maintain the gain and I celebrate my wins. So maintaining the gain means we look from a growth perspective, and we want to look for the ways that we win, and we look for the ways that we are gaining and growing and learning, rather than the gap, right? The gap is, oh, I don't have what I want and I'm stuck. So, I maintain the gain and I celebrate my wins. And so for me, that's from my vision, because the version of me that I am becoming and that I already am deep in my soul celebrates and is, really looks for the lessons, looks for the growth, looks for the opportunities. And that's something that I'm really intentionally practicing now. And so, something like that to me is more meaningful than I speak kindly to myself, which is also really meaningful. But it's also like, how can you make it feel like, yeah, that's me. I want to say that to myself. That means a lot to me. And so also, when you are looking at the vision that you have, and so for example, for me, one of the the ways that I really want to use my gifts, use my tools through the Rise and Vibe movement is to continue to make it a global movement. It's already that, which is so amazing. And that's something that, you know, as a realization and as an identity shift, I practiced for a long time, but now it's true, is I lead a global movement of over 500 incredible beings who show up for themselves first every day. And so that's something that is from my vision that I use as a power statement. Okay, so that's where I want you to get these statements from for this purposeful powerhouse practice. So you're going to create those power statements for yourself. You're going to look at that from the perspective of, okay, so what are some habits that you want to have? Like I jump out of bed and I do my morning routine, you know, or whatever it is, right? And then what beliefs that you want to have for yourself, maybe surrounding your business or the value of what you're doing, or certain identities that you want. You know, for example, I am successful and impactful because I share my gifts in service of others, like stuff like that. Okay. I'm basically reading you my whole statement from my memory right now, but that's okay. I want you to have examples. And so the practice, so that you can use these layers, because you know that your breath is the most powerful tool you have to regulate your nervous system and create safety. And when you create safety, that's where change happens, right? Because change only happens at the speed of safety in our body. Because if it's not perceived as safe and familiar, instinctively, your brain and body and nervous system will kick up all sorts of resistance to protect you. And that's where the patterns of self-protection and self-sabotage typically get kicked in and kicked up, right? And so those different patterns of that, you know, inner critic or perfectionism or overworking or being hyper vigilant about things, like that's where that can get kicked up. And so when you start the day by dropping into this practice and regulating yourself through this steady, even breath, you literally are planting these seeds in very, very fertile soil. Okay, so if your life is a garden, right? If your life is a garden and you want these beautiful fruits and flowers to grow, right? Your vision to expand and to grow, we need to plant the seeds for it. And then, of course, nurture it with your actions and your energy and your thoughts. That's a whole other episode, but plant the seeds for it in this very receptive environment, right? You wouldn't plant seeds for your carrots in sandy, rocky soil, right? You would plant the seeds in soil that you've turned up and you've nourished and you've watered and you've put all some organic mulch and whatever. I'm not a gardener, but you know, I have a general idea. And so you would create that beautiful, really hospitable, nurturing environment. And that's essentially what this practice is that you're planting the seeds of your vision in your heart and in your life and in your very spacious, regulated nervous system through this practice. And that's powerful. And you're doing it on purpose, right? So that is the practice that I really want to share. So what is it, right? So it is really a very, very incredible way. So you've created that proclamation, if you will, right? So this proclamation, this decision of all of these different things, right? All of those power statements that we just talked about. So what you're going to do is, in your morning routine or sometime throughout the day, you get yourself into a comfortable position. Again, once you get familiar with this, you can do this walking your doggy. You can do this as you move, as you dance. And so it's up to you. Okay. And so what we do is we always start everything we do in my work and in my sessions and in the Rise and Vibe movement by dropping in. And what do I mean by dropping in? I mean, bringing your awareness and your intention and your attention, the original AI, dropping that into your center to connect to your higher self, your true self, to connect to the present moment, whatever, however you describe that, right? And so we first start by really dropping into that center point within yourself and taking a few slow and steady breaths, right? To get yourself already in that steady state. And what we do then is keeping your breath, right? And we've talked in other episodes about that steady, consistent rhythm to the breath. So we want to start with that and really drop into that place within yourself where you feel deeply connected to that stillness, to your heart space, to, your center, however you describe that, i.e., you quiet the mind and you come into the body. And from that place, we breathe in that steady, smooth rhythm. We take an in breath. And then as you drop into the first statement, whatever that is, I live from my wholeness, for example, I would say to myself, so I would breathe in and I would stay in my center. And as I breathe out, I repeat the statement and I feel into the energy of it. I live from my wholeness. And I stay connected to that feeling in my heart as I take another full, complete breath, feeling that feeling expand within me. I stay in that feeling. And you can do this, depending on how much time you have, you can do this a few times. And the more you do that one and repeat it over and over, the the faster this becomes an anchored place for you, because through that repetition, it really patterns that belief in your nervous system. It starts to create the hardwiring in your brain through your neural pathways. There's all sorts of cool stuff that's happening literally deep in your body as you rewire your system. And so, repeat it once, twice, bazillion times, however many times you want. But that's the sequence of this powerhouse proclamation practice. So these are your proclamations. This is what you're doing for yourself. You're doing this purposefully every morning. So for example, I'll just show you it again. I would move on to my next one. So we start with the in breath from the center, your center. We breathe in, pause. As you breathe out, feel the energy of it. I am leading a global movement of over 500 people. I feel that in my body. I stay in the feeling as I take another full breath in and out. And then you just continue down the list of your proclamation. Okay. And so, I would really invite you to do this, practice it, like, so create from the vision, decide on these, power statements that you have for yourself, these things that you want to proclaim, that you want to live into, that you want to make a contract for how you live and for how you show up. And so write those out and then do this practice as part of your morning routine to amplify your morning routine and amplify your affirmations, really. And, like, let's be real, take them to a whole other stratosphere. So that you begin the day this way. You are so anchored in this place. This is your center. These seeds are planted in your heart, the fertile forest of the heart, if you will. I don't know. I hope that made sense. I live in Maui, so we have a fertile forest that is basically our surroundings, jungle everywhere. So that's the practice. And I mean, the more consistent you are, the more you'll start to feel this, the more this will be your center, the more you will drop into this, the more you'll be able to access this place. And you start to recognize that although these are, individual statements about the reality and the vision that you're creating for yourself, it's all one. And it starts to kind of breathe and move and be this center within yourself that you operate from, because you are that. Right? You're activating it within yourself daily, hopefully, or frequently, maybe. And so you're anchored in it, and it is who you are. And as much as you are becoming this expanded version of yourself, even more authentically, that version of you already exists within you, because you already have this knowledge, you already have this awareness, you already have this insights that you maybe feel like you're getting from the future, but you're getting from yourself, right? And so that's really, as much as it's a practice of letting go and becoming even more authentically this, it's more of a remembering that this is what and who you already are. So that's really the practice, and that's how you breathe new life into each day, into, maybe a new chapter, maybe a new version of yourself, maybe a new character that you are really wanting to live into and become. And it's not a fake it till you make it. It's an activation. It's a purposeful practice that makes you really fully connected to that truth and those knowings, because you have it as a felt experience. You have it as a way of being in that practice, and what you practice you become. And it's not that you're just doing it in your morning routine and then bingo bango, that's it, and then the rest of the day, you're whatever. It's a tool set that you access throughout the day, right? It's something that you do, and you can, you check it off the list. But more important than that, that's where you live from, right? It's where you act from, it's where you make decisions from, it's the guidance that you connect to as you navigate your life. You keep coming back to that center and you act from it, right? Just like I had you breathe from that center and then back to it. That's how we live, right? You anchor yourself into it and then you express from it. You go back to it for information. And so that's the practice, really. And so that is the proclamation practice. It's so powerful. It's so purposeful. I mean, it's literally, it's an active manifestation practice, if you will, but I would say it's more of an activation practice. And it's really an alignment in a sense. And, there's a lot of buzzwords I'm saying there, but it's really a decision, I suppose. It's a decision to commit to those habits, beliefs, ways of being, and then cut off everything else, right? That's the decision, is to decide. It's to choose that one thing, and then everything else is let go of or not allowed anymore. Anything that's not in line with that proclamation and that decision that you have of who and how you are and how you want to feel and how you're going to show up, then you start to really be able to recognize those points of resistance, the ways that the saboteurs, this patterns of self-sabotage show up, so that you can return back to your center, so that you can take the power pause and come back to the center and act from that regulated place. And so that's really so invigorating and hopefully inspiring to you. And so I'd love to know how that goes for you. And that's really, how you can fully begin to create a morning routine that is so much more than just, something you check off the list. It's really this beautiful embodiment and empowerment practice. And so that you can really begin to breathe new life into your day, because let's be real, life, it's a lot. And so, right now when I'm recording this, we are coming up on, and when this is released, we will be knee deep up in it, the holiday season. And it's can be really hectic, and it can be a lot, especially for those of us that are business owners and doing online promotion, doing, holiday promo, holiday sales, that big push around Black Friday, and then in the Christmas holiday season, it can be very hectic. And so having this practice to start the day as your anchor is so impactful as a tone setter for the day. And then also knowing that you can use your breath in this really expansive way to keep coming back, to be able to navigate these challenges that are inevitable, not even just in the holiday season. You might be listening to this in March and you're like, man, not so much with the craziness, but it's just life, right? There's challenges. And so if you are listening to this during the period of, November, October, Breathe to Succeed is available right now, but it's only available once a year, as you maybe heard in the intro, is that because it's supportive and because it's designed to help you to navigate the hecticness of the holidays. It's a once a year situation, right? It's only available from October 10th to November 11th. And guess what? It's only $11, because I want to be able to give you these tools that are literally so impactful, but so underrated, because people are like, give me the strategies. Okay, the strategy is for you to get centered and breathe and get some of that stress out of your body. That's the strategy. You are the strategy, my friend. And the breath is really just an avenue for you to plug back in to that deep felt sense of possibility and creativity and expansiveness and magnetism, and be attracting people and opportunities, and be able to deliver your sales presentations in a way that people are excited about, because they want your level of expansion, because they want your level of possibility that you're communicating through your words and your energy and your action and your your breath, right? So Breathe to Succeed is now currently available, but only until November 11th. So if you're listening to this past that time period, I'm sorry, lovey, you'll have to wait till next year, but it's coming around the corner. But I do, of course, have great things coming up for you, so have no fear. But if you're in that window, I would definitely grab it, because I'm just gonna tell you, the feedback from it have been absolutely amazing. People are going, they start the session at a 1, like super flat out exhausted. They finish the session feeling all sorts of lit up at like a 9 or a 10, and they're out there doing things, taking action. It's awesome. And it's really about pressing the button, taking a power pause, using this incredibly impactful tool of your breath, because there's literally so many ways you can take it and use it. And, it's just so fun to play with. It's like the Swiss Army knife of yoga tools. So grab Breathe to Succeed and let me know how you feel after the session. Send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to know and to celebrate and give you some gold stars. So have a beautiful, amazing rest of your day. And thank you for breathing on purpose. Thank you for being the incredible powerhouse that you are. Thank you for proclaiming that into the world. And if you try the PPP, let me know how it goes. I'd love to know what some of your power statements are, and really honor that and witness you in this decision and declaration. So have an incredible rest of your day and take care. Thanks for being here.